Hi folks, long time no see. Got this in the post. Now this is not a knife, you'd be surprised to see. This is a Christmas card. But I got this all the way from Chicago. And I can open it up. And of course the lighting's too bright, but there we are. Eric, for the season and the new year, the very best of wishes. Tobias. And a little message there from Tobias at the top, which is quite nice. Now, why did he send that? Well, because he's a nice guy, but also because he was enclosing a couple of things. Now, you may remember in one of his videos that I sent him, well, he'd said he was looking for a World War I Springfield bayonet. I don't have a World War I Springfield bayonet, but I did have a World War I 1917 SMLE 18-inch sword bayonet, manufactured in 1917 by Wilkinson Sword, and it's not really something that fits in my collection, so I said, would you like it? And he said yes, he would love it. So that was fantastic. I sent it off, it got to him. I put another little knife in there and a lanyard for the one I'd sent him before, and he was very pleased. So he said, we'd had a long chat, we'd had a chat a long time ago about a certain type of knife, because it's something I'd always fancied when I was a child, but just put something on the screen so you know I'm actually still here, but I don't want to do the reveal too quickly. When I was a child or teenager, I always wanted a particular type of knife, but then I couldn't afford it. Now I can afford it. I'm not exactly going out doing the sort of things for which one might need such a thing, so you know, I didn't buy it. It's not something I need. And it's quite nice when somebody buys you something as a gift, when it's something you don't need but you want. You wouldn't, you know, waste your money on it, as it were, but you're ever so glad that someone else spent their money on it, because then you can entirely justify it to yourself as reasonable, and just enjoy it for what it is. And what was it? Well, it was this. This is a United States Air Force survival knife. Now, not even Tobias has seen it looking like this, because when he sent it to me, it came ex-factory, as it were, and that means it comes in a sort of undyed veg leather style sheath, and the handle looks very rough and ready. So basically, when I got it, he said he'd leave the conditioning of it to me, and when I got it, which was only on Friday and today's Monday, so on Saturday, much to my wife's horror, because we were supposed to be going out, I took some brown boot polish to the handle and to the sheath to give it a wee bit of colour, and then I oiled both the sheath and the handle with a great deal of oil to to moisturise the leather, because the leather is very, very dry, and it wouldn't take long for it to end up in a bit of a state. So, what is the knife itself? Well, it's we have a scabbard with a sharpening stone in there, leather scabbard obviously, and it has this bit of, I think it's aluminium, over the bottom, folded around the back, because this is a survival knife, and if you were a pilot and you'd crashed your plane in the jungle somewhere, you don't really want to crash and find the knife sticking in your leg, because it was only had a leather sheath. But this is the knife itself. Now it has a 5-inch Bowie style blade with a saw on the back, which, funnily enough, sawback or aggressive sawtooth backs to knives make them. It's one of those things that is specifically outlawed in the Offensive Weapons Act here. This isn't what they were getting at, but it's funny how they make definitions, and you kind of wonder. This is a survival knife. There's no getting away from this. I mean, granted, if you took this to the shops with you, people might wonder what you were up to. But if you were out in the woods somewhere, I don't think anybody would question this as being a reasonable knife. I mean, it's a 5-inch blade. That's in the picture and the video, it's always difficult to judge the size, but it's not a sort of 10-inch fighting knife. This is not. It's maybe similar to the U.S. Marines K-bar knife, but it's much smaller. I think that has a 7 or an 8-inch blade. This is 5-inch and it's thinner. It's quite stout though. This saw is actually for cutting plexiglass. It will notch wood and stuff, but it's really for cutting plexiglass. It's got a clip back, but it's not a sharpened clip point blade. It sort of came semi-sharp, a typical factory grind on a 1095 steel blade with a black Park and Ice coating. I have sharpened it up just with a hone and then leather strop with Smurf poo, and now it'll slice paper. It's not razor sharp. I could make it razor sharp, and at some point I probably will, but not yet. You've got this cross guard here. 2 little holes apparently are for lashing it to a stick to make a spear. If you really want to do that, that's up to you. At the other end here we have this really solid pommel, which is peened on. I mean, it is really a pretty solid thing, and it's designed to be used as a hammer. Do you know something that's really... I hadn't thought of this, it just occurred to me as I'm hammering it. Under there, I have a piece of foam which I use as a baseboard, which is actually a piece of foam out of an ejector seat from I don't know what sort of jet plane, but how I came by it is a long story, which is not very interesting, but nonetheless, I have. Thank you, Adam. And anyway, just odd connection. So anyway, this is made by Ontario Knife Company. Now, Ontario Knife Company, you would think you could be forgiven for thinking, rather. You see on here it says Ontario 317. Now, I don't know if that's the date it was made, March 17. It could be, but I don't know that for a fact, so don't quote me on that. You could be forgiven for thinking that Ontario was presumably a Canadian company, but it's not. I think they're actually based in New York State. I'm sure somebody will correct me because that's probably wrong, but I believe it's New York State in America, rather than being a Canadian company. And they've been making these knives since I think this came out, was it the late 40s or the early 50s or something like that. I don't think they use them anymore. They've now got one with a black kind of rubber handle. But anyway, the point of all this is this came from Tobias. Now he asked me if I'd like one of these, and I said yes, that's fantastic. But anyway, the box arrived, and in it was also the Christmas card, which is upside down, Christmas card, which was also very nice. That arrived. My lights are determined to keep falling over. That's because I use torches for lights, flashlights, if you're American. There was also, you've seen half the box there, there was also in the box a Rough Rider box. Now, that's very nice. And I suppose if I knew anything about things, I'm not a knife guru, I just make videos. RR2038 didn't immediately mean anything to me as much as it should have done, but it should have done, because it's one that I've been trying to get hold of and I couldn't get. They were sold, well, then I think there was some came to the UK, and I think Heine Haynes had some, and they were sold out before they actually got them on their website. So I never saw them. This is this work knife. Now, it's on the margin for legal carry in the UK, but I think as a fat old 50-something in a wheelchair, I probably am not going to have any great trouble with it. But it's a beautiful Warncliffe blade, which has beautiful swedge on each side, which is really nice. Nail clip. Also, although it says on here, there's something I noticed about it. It says on here, Rough Rider, with a Y, and on here it does say the number RR2038 and the word China, It doesn't say on there 440 a steel, 440 razor sharp steel, or whatever it is that they say. And I'm quite pleased about that, because it's just a wee bit more classy. Now if you add to that the fact that it has these triple threaded bolsters, a micarta handle in polished micarta, a lovely little lanyard ring at the end. This is a really nice knife. The fit and finish, now I don't know if they're all this good, but I know that my friend Tobias is very good at making sure that he doesn't send me junk. I know this because twice he's gone to send me something, twice the thing has arrived, and twice he said it's not good enough. So and then he's reordered and got me something nice. He sent me a dog bone jack, rough razor dog bone jack, and he didn't think that the colouring was good enough in the scales, so he sent it back to Smoky Mountain Knife Works to send him another one. So anyway, so that arrived in the box, but also in the same box was this. Now this is Tobias' favourite pattern. He loves his toothpicks. This is I think it's just over 4-inch toothpick, so it has basically a 3-inch blade. So it's, again, just on UK legal. Again, this is nice. This is in their carbon series, so it's a carbon blade rather than their true sharp steel. You've got the match strike nail nick. You've got the R on the bolster, nice shield, and then at the tail here, at the horn, you have 3 pinstripes. Now, thing is though, and again, fit and finish is good. Blade slightly bent, and I did have one of these once before, but the blade was so bent I tried to straighten it and I snapped it. But funny thing is, when you compare the quality of the lining on here with the lining on here, it's chalk and cheese. I mean, this is nice, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with this, but it just goes to show just how good Rough Rider are getting with some of the knives that they produce. And this is really quite the work knife there, the Warmth, is superb. Trying to recover something from under here, which I should have put out in the first place. And just before I let you all go, which I'm just about to do, I just wanted to show you. Also in the box there was a Smoky Mountain Knife Works sticker and 3 of these. Knife Chats with Tobias. So anyway, the whole point of all this video is to show everybody, and the point of all this video is to say to Tobias, thank you very, very much for all this stuff. It's far more than was required. My bayonet to him was a gift. I don't sell any of my knives ever. Occasionally I give them to somebody who I think deserves them more than I do. So that was a gift. That he sent these in return is fantastic. It's not necessary, and that makes it all the better in a way. He wasn't fulfilling an obligation. He was doing something out of the goodness of his heart, and for that I am very, very grateful. Thank you very much, Tobias, and thank you everyone else for watching. If you like this drivel, please feel free to tick the like, and if you want to see more of it, if you're a glutton for punishment, please subscribe and ring the bell. Thank you very much.